I think a big reason is John Walters and sort of his role here. I remember John as a player the last time I was here and built up a really good rapport and relationship with John. I've kept in touch ever since I left with him, and his vision for Stoke City aligns with sort of how I like to operate. So when he was in this position and we talked about potentially working together, it was a no-brainer really. Only with fond memories. So obviously it was our sort of best form as a club in the Premier League and highest place finish in the Premier League, but it was more than that. It was staff, players here at the stadium. Everyone felt like one big family. The recruitment prior to us coming in was excellent in terms of the players that we inherited was such a good professional group of players. The players themselves managed the dressing room. We got great training outputs. Everyone was in it for the right reasons, and we were working the same goals really, and achieved relative success for Stoke City. And I reflect on that in terms of what we did and how we did things with nothing but fond memories. And coming back, that's what I'd like to achieve again. I mean, I grew up wanting to be a footballer. I was a whitey and a young pro at Wrexham, and then I went to the States and got some life experience there, but then I realised I wasn't ever going to make it at the highest levels. The next best thing was in the role that I was doing now, so I went and got all my coaching qualifications, all my professional qualifications. And having started more in the fitness area, it's all about getting the players as fit as they possibly can be to perform and meet the demands of the game. But if they're not available, it defeats the object. So the two key principles really are high performance and available. I've just had some amazing experiences and worked with some fantastic people. Sometimes when you're at a club for a long period of time, you forget, or you're not exposed to what is out in the big world of football. So I had an amazing experience when I left Stoke and worked in the MLS with Seattle. We won the MLS. That was amazing, the fact that we were successful, but it was very, very challenging in terms of going from a different country, different cultures, different environment, different sort of approaches to training and preparation. So I had to adapt. I had to work closely with the people around me that didn't necessarily have the same sort of philosophy and approach, and that was challenging in itself. But it's also helped me develop the ability to adapt and, I suppose, convince people of coming around to how I like to work as well. And when you're successful, it helps. If you're unsuccessful, then you have to figure out ways in which you can adapt and improve. That was one way in which I've sort of developed myself. I then was very fortunate to get the call from Vincent Kompany, who I worked with at Man City in his first role as Anderlecht manager, who basically wanted me to educate him on how to keep players available and maintain a high level of performance. Because when I worked with him at Man City, it was one of his most successful years as a player, successful seasons as a player, in terms of him being available. And he liked the approach, so he wanted to learn the details. So that role was slightly different in that I was more mentoring him about the methods I like to use. So that helped me develop and take on another role of, right, I've got to impart how I like to work on a manager that is has been very, very successful as a player, very, very well respected. But the biggest thing for me is he was so open-minded, but unbelievable in terms of, it was his first managerial job, but his approach, his detail, his preparation, how thorough he was, I've never seen that level of detail. So that helped me develop as a practitioner as well. And then the last 2 years I spent at Burnley. Craig Bellamy initially recruited me when Vincent left. My experience of Craig was working with him with the Welsh squad, Manchester City, and he's also another advocate of how I like to work. So we started the season there at Burnley, and then Scott Parker came in with a different approach, very, very thorough, very, very detailed, very, very successful. And obviously we came up from the Championship and It was interesting for me, having not ever been in the Championship, how to implement, how to adapt to a different way of working, and that developed sort of my skill set further, and hopefully we can take that experience of gaining promotion in the Championship into Stoke City. When I was at Man City and the Sheikh took over, I tell this sort of story to some of the staff whenever I go in and work with new staff. I was charged by the Sheikh to sort of highlight what the performance department does, and we had to sort of categorise and explain exactly what it did. And I split it up into 4 key areas, so planning, prevention, conditioning and regeneration. Ultimately, there's got to be a plan. So the coaches, the medics, the sports scientists, the strength coach and nutritionists all have to be understanding what the plan is, and then that plan has to be sort of educated, or the players need to be educated on that plan. So the first part is understanding the need for a real thorough plan and a way of working. There's then various aspects of prevention, so fitness tests, where players are in terms of how they react to games, and then all the preparation that goes on in the gym from a prevention perspective. Then the conditioning, what is your approach to conditioning? What do you do on a daily basis to make sure, 1, the players recover from games, 2, they're fresh going into the next game, and 3, week on week where possible, they improve their level of fitness. And then the last one is the regeneration, so all the nutritional considerations, all the different recovery strategies, and then if a player does get injured, how do we reintegrate them safely into the training process. So, as I said, 4 key categories: planning, prevention, conditioning, regeneration, and then all the strands that fit within that. I mean, my immediate priority is to just look at what the current practice is. So look at how the coaches work, look at how the medics and the practitioners, sports scientists and strength coaches prepare players, look at all the things that are in place. Obviously, when I was here last time, I was fortunate to oversee everything and implement things how I want them to be implemented. Things change, things evolve. So in my head, I know what I want to do. I want to see where we're at, and then the sort of next stage leading into sort of pre-season day 1 will be, how can I improve the existing structure? Look at current availability, look at performance levels, and how can my thought processes, my protocols benefit that so that we hit the ground running next season.